Welcome everybody back to Friday. It's I must ask you a question. How's your market? And today I'm with a good friend, Melissa out of Fort Lauderdale. How are you doing today?
I am so good. I'm so glad I finally made it on here. So,
Yes.
good to see you, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's just dive into how's your real estate market? What is going on in Fort Lauderdale and all the areas that you serve?
So, I live in Fort Lauderdale proper. So, I am in the main part of Fort Lauderdale, but I serve obviously all around because Fort Lauderdale itself is not a huge city. We have about
Oh,
180,000 people
oh
population.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a huge city. So you wind up having all these little cities within cities. There's a couple cities that we have within our city, and then we have,
Yeah.
extended. I wind up serving all of Broward County. But where we are is we're situated between Miami and Palm Beach.
Miami and Palm
So,
Beach. Okay.
it, mhm. And what we get is we get because Miami has gotten so expensive and so has Palm Beach. If people aren't moving completely out of South Florida, they're moving to Broward County because
Got it.
Fort Lauderdale is still metropolitan in its own way, and
Yeah.
but it's not as expensive, which it's still expensive. Please
Yeah.
do not use that. Yeah.
Yeah, where is Melbourne at in all that?
So Melbourne is it's on the East Coast just like we are, but it's several counties north of here. So it's not really
Okay,
considered North Florida. I would say Melbourne's a little bit more like central Florida, but it's not in the middle of the state. It's on the coast.
got it. The
Yeah.
only reason I'm asking because not many people know. Before I got into real estate, when I was in the automotive industry, I quit that for a season to become a independent contractor for FEMA. And when all of the hurricanes hit, I was in Melbourne for about 3 or 4 months working and doing inspections of damage and stuff. And so that's why I'm like, where's
Oh,
Melbourne? Because I'm not too familiar over there. I was
yeah.
there for a
Yeah.
few months of working and stuff, but yeah, we were living over there for a few months.
Yeah.
So how is your market? Are you viewing it from last year? Obviously, right? We're flowing into this year. Have things gone up as far as traffic to, your listings and the whole market? Are buyers coming to town? Do you think it's more of a buyer's market, seller's market?
We're definitely in more of a buyer's market than we've
Okay.
ever seen. So, but inventory still moves. The thing with Fort Lauderdale is what we don't have is land. So we don't have places to just build a new home community, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's just not going to happen. So if they can find a little pocket of land, they'll build like a few townhomes, right? You might get
Yep.
6, 7, 8 townhomes, and those townhomes can start depending on where they are, which neighborhood they're in, they can start at $1 million. They can start at 800. It's not affordable housing by any means. But we do see that people throw more money at new construction. So we have a healthy new construction market going. So, but what they do is they go take a house that was built. The neighborhood I live in was built for the railroad workers. So it
Okay.
was workforce housing, that was built for the railroad workers that were going through the state. And they take those old houses that were some of them 100 years old, 80 years old, and they take them down, they level them, and they put up new construction. And those new construction
Hmm.
boxes, I call them, because in Florida, in South Florida, we build with only concrete. So that's why architecturally sometimes it is more difficult because the lot may be smaller. You
Yeah.
can't just build, all of this architectural detail on
Hmm. Yeah.
concrete
I
box.
mean, you're using cylinder blocks.
Yeah, exactly. So that was an adjustment for me coming from Houston because I was like, these are just boxes. What? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Now I understand, like cost wise, like why they do that. But so they'll take those. They'll pay anywhere from 800 to $1 million for a 6,000, 6,500 square foot lot. Rip it down, build a box, and they sell it for 3 million.
Wow. So with that said, what is the average price range for homes in your area. So whether it's Fort Lauderdale proper or all the other little suburbs, little
Yeah, I mean, we
towns
definitely have
outside.
neighborhoods where you can find houses that are like 400 or, in
Okay.
the 300. So we have those. That's Crescent Park and South Middle River Terrace, pushing a little bit closer to 95
Hmm.
is where you see that. And then those can range in the lower price. And then if you go on the other side of 95, there's still a little bit of Fort Lauderdale there. So, and some of those prices can be lower. I would say we probably, if you just average them all together, right, you're gonna wind up around the 680 number.
Mm.
But I don't think that math means anything. I always thought it was such a weird thing to do because we have houses that sell for $30 million. So, I mean, what are we
Yeah, it's
averaging?
kind of hard to put that into the average.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, averaging here doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense. So we are seeing buyers market. So all of my sellers, I'm more of a listing agent than I am a buyer's agent. Of course, I have buyers, but
Yeah.
I that's just how my balance is, I guess. Um, all of my sellers have been the offers they have accepted, they have come down on their price. They've probably had to do at least one price reduction before they got, you know,
Yeah.
before they actually got
An
a
accepted
good
offer.
offer.
Yeah.
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 And they're giving concessions is what we're
Yeah.
seeing. So we're seeing concessions towards closing and large amounts, and we're seeing concessions off inspection where before the sellers would be like, no, I have 3 people behind you that want this house. So if not
Yeah.
more in the unicorn years, but I don't even count the unicorn years. That's what I call the COVID
Yeah.
years because
Oh
they were,
yeah.
yeah, that's not realistic. And you're in Texas, I'm in Florida. We know how many people were coming here.
Yep.
I am curious if people will come here from the fires. People who were considering moving to Florida that are now thinking, okay, well, they might as well just go.
Yeah, and it could be, right? Because I
Yeah.
mean, it's a horrific, event that's happening over there, and prayers to all the families and workers and everybody out there. But man, it's they've lost everything. There's a lot of people that lost it, and that may be the decision for them to say, we're not rebuilding. We're just gonna up and leave, and start fresh and somewhere where that potential is a little bit lower. But why do you think that your sellers are having to reduce the price or give concessions? Do you think it's because values have gone down, or is it because of maybe interest rates and just the times?
I just think buyers are pickier.
Yep.
I really don't think that there's an abundance of single family inventory. And let me be clear, I'm only talking single family right now, even though we do have a lot of condos because condos is a different animal. There's a
Yeah.
state law that's affecting what's going on with condos right now. So people are afraid. They see things on the news that aren't really clear and make it seem like something's going on. It's very easy to analyze a condo and see if you should buy it or not or what its future
Yeah.
is, but the news is just scaring people. So for right now, the condo market, there's so much inventory, it's ridiculous. The single family market, even though you see a lot of signs up, it's not true because a lot of them are doing what sellers do, right? They say, well, my house is worth 2 million, but if I can get 2.5, I'll sell. So they throw it on the market, right? Because
Yeah.
they see these other houses that are selling and they're selling for high prices. It's still high prices. We still have increases. We're not
Yeah.
decreasing. But sellers are having to come off
Yeah.
those pipe dreams.
Yeah, it's just wishful thinking, right? It's
Mm.
unrealistic expectations, and they just want to, throw spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks, and see if they get that higher price and
But,
stuff.
but back to your question about, I really think buyers are just they're quicker to let it go. And I think
Yeah.
because it's not like any buyers walking in and go, oh my God, this is an amazing deal I'm getting. They're paying, you walk into new construction if you're going out looking outside of a area that's already built up, and they're giving you money towards buying down your
Yeah.
rate, and they're giving you
Oh
all
yeah.
these incentives. Buyers aren't walking into these sellers' homes and getting those same things. So it's really easy for them to go, well, we like the house, but we like a lot of houses, and
Yeah.
nothing's like wooing me into buying this house.
Oh
This
yeah.
the one I just closed, the buyer, it was their second offer on this house. They made an offer. We went through inspection. We extended inspection. They canceled. They went away. They went looking. They came
And they
back
came back.
because we were offering good incentives and we
Yeah.
were doing those things.
And
And those,
that's the thing. I
yeah,
mean, buyers aren't, yes, they can be pickier because there is more inventory for them to pick at, right? Especially in our area. I mean, they have options now versus, like you said, the unicorn years, the COVID years, where they had to make a split decision like that.
yeah,
And it's back to realistic expectations now, right? And, it's not like the COVID years. And so, yes, rates are a little bit up, right? It is what it is. But at the end of the day, they have more options. And so a lot of our homes over here as well, I mean, they're priced where values are because of what's compared to the other homes that have sold. But it's the same thing. Well, there's now 7 homes for this house in the neighborhood, and the buyer can go to any of these, and they're
right.
all sitting, right? And so they have these options and they can take that chance of, I like it. Let's go under contract and see if we can get a better deal. And if not, we'll cancel and we'll just keep looking, right? That's the crazy part.
I
So
feel
how
like
long have you lived in Fort Lauderdale?
since 2000,
Okay.
I came to Florida when I got married. Technically, we lived in Miramar, which is still in the West. But we both worked in Friends and we had all of our relationships and our network. So then we
Yeah.
sold that townhome. Well, actually, we didn't. We rented it out because the market was.
Oh man, looks like we lost. I
Oh,
think your
okay.
connection. There we go. All right.
So in 2009, we actually bought a house in Fort Lauderdale. And so
Yeah.
then living here since then, but working here since 2005.
Wow. Okay. So, what is your most favorite part about living in Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, you just have everything. I feel like so where we live close to Las Olas, and anyone who's ever been to Fort Lauderdale knows that Las Olas is our main street,
Okay.
right? So it's our main street. It's where all of our shops are. It's where the restaurants. I mean, restaurants are everywhere, but certainly it's where somebody would go if they were visiting Fort Lauderdale. And it goes all the way it goes all the way west, all the way to the beach. So it runs to the beach. And if anyone's ever been here, they've probably been to the Elbow Room, which is famous for being on the corner of Las Olas and Ocean Boulevard.
So, what is that? What is the elbow room?
So Elbow Room is a bar that is super popular. So Fort Lauderdale was known as being a spring break town. It was, I think there was a movie called Where the Boys Are, and that's what this city
Hmm.
was named after. So we have since lost that moniker and we try to avoid spring. We, of course, get spring breakers because we are at the beach. But we do try, we don't promote it, we don't support it, we don't advertise for spring break here in our city
Yeah.
because we've grown so much. The thing is, when I first came, I was like, this is like a little, it's like San Francisco. It's going to be bigger than people think it is because it
Mm,
has it has the bones, right? It
yeah.
has a couple of buildings downtown that are tall. So you're like, okay, these are normal downtown buildings, right? It has an international airport, although it's smaller, it has room to grow. It has the port, which Port Everglades is the number one port, I think, for moving fuel through the state of Florida.
Hmm.
So, and that port got expanded. It has a convention center. The cruise ships come here. So, in this tiny little city, and
Yeah.
as the beach, there's so much here. There's a lot of, we have big companies, obviously like Auto Nation and things like that. That this is where their headquarters is. Um,
Okay.
but we also it's a very young city. And so we have a lot of young businesses, um,
Yeah.
and a lot of new apartment communities, walkability communities, because that's where the young professionals want to be. That's
Got
where
it.
they want to live. So we have a ton of those.
So, if
Yeah.
you could describe your area in 3 words, what would it be?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I never even I mean, it
Threw
would
you for a
be
loop.
I know, it would be, I feel like it's a bubble. So we have everything. You don't have to go anywhere. We have, Michelin
Yeah,
star restaurants. We have all of that. We
yeah.
have 10 minutes to the international airport. Like
Okay.
we have our bubble. You do not have to leave. It's
So
young.
maybe convenience,
Yeah,
young
I would say it's
convenience.
very innovative. Um,
Nice. Okay.
it's doing big things. Yeah,
So
and
what advice? Oh,
active.
go.
Active has to
Active.
be the other one
Okay.
because like between golf, tennis, pickleball, hockey, ice rink. I mean, there's so much. People are super active here. Yeah.
Nice. So what advice would you give someone that's considering relocating to your city?
I would say if you're going to come here, it depends on where they're coming from, right?
Okay.
So if they're and what their lifestyle and what kind of lifestyle do they want to live? Um, this city tends to be broken up into different little pockets. So we have south of the tunnel. So everything is cut up by the tunnel, right? So we have south of the tunnel, and south of the tunnel is where Rio Vista, one of the, I would say, most expensive per square foot for dry lots are. They do have houses on the water. It's closer to the airport, closer to the convention center.
Okay.
Ports are, it has its own little bubble. So it's figuring out like which pocket you want to live in.
Yeah.
I'm in the central part, which is north of the tunnel. Las Olas is right next to me. The Panthers practice facility is in my neighborhood. So it's more, I would say South Rio Vista would be more like neighborhood family. Then you go Central's more young, professional, fast paced movers,
Yep.
and shakers. And then a little more north is more of, I feel like, established,
Okay.
quieter golf community. Don't want to be in the hustle and bustle, but still want to be Fort
So
Lauderdale.
maybe retirement
Oh,
type
yeah, I
or
mean, we do have that, but it's not
okay.
cheap to retire. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's cheap to retire in the state of Florida, as far as we don't have a state income tax, and
Yeah.
that part is easy. We have some senior discounts on our property taxes, but those are really for low income, so they
Got it.
don't apply. Of course, we have a ton of snowbirds here.
Yeah.
So, but where we used to have when I first came here in '05, the first 8 years, a lot of restaurants would close during season. Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen anymore
Okay.
because
Okay.
it's fully populated.
Yeah. So if somebody's visiting your area for the first time, like me, I've never been to Fort
Yeah.
Lauderdale. If I go visit you or that area, what are some must see or must do things?
Well, you definitely want to go to Las Olas because you want to walk up and down there and just enjoy that. It's a really pretty street too.
Yeah.
So that part of Las Olas where you have all of the elbow room is historic. So if you're into like going to have a drink at a bar that overlooks this right across the street from the beach and you're overlooking in the beach, it's kind of a, if it's a nostalgia thing for you. We have the Swimming Hall of Fame here. So if that's something, then I would say that's huge. Obviously you have to go to the beach. So Fort Lauderdale Beach is super clean. They clean the beach every morning. There are machines out there cleaning the beach every
Nice.
morning, like churning the sand, cleaning the,
Yeah.
getting the dirt, getting the trash, cleaning every morning. If you're into some of the history and some of the nature parts, I would say you have to go to the Bonnet House. So the Bonnet
Okay.
House in Hugh Birch Park were donated by a family that started Fort Lauderdale, and they can't be developed. So they are right on the beach, and one of them is a public park, and you can go to that one, and the other one is a museum and a nature
Yeah.
center and an orchid center. A lot of people get married at the Bonnet House, so
Okay.
that's a good place to go to.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. So, real quick, how did you get started in real estate, and why do you love it?
Okay, so I started in mortgage first in Houston. So that was January of 1998.
Okay.
Um, a friend was doing wholesale mortgages. I was working for a sign company. like operations manager, and he's like, I deal with all of these mortgage brokers. He's like, you could do this. You
Yeah.
need to do this. So I partnered with another friend, started a mortgage company, had no experience. We hired 12 loan officers. We put ads in paper for business, and we had all of our vendors come train us. So we had obviously my friend that was in wholesale, and then we
Yep.
had insurance companies train us. We had surveyors, appraisers, lenders, title companies. They all came and trained us and taught us what to do. And that's how the business evolved. And then I got my real estate license because that's what you do. And you start doing a little investment things. And I didn't have my license here in Florida
Yeah.
until 2012. And
Wow.
then I had my mortgage, but I didn't have my real
Your
estate.
real
And
estate.
I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to doing what I like to do. I was working with my husband's business. So I think for a long time I was finding my way in real estate, like have a team is my do I love training people and teaching agents, how to be
Mm-hmm.
better agents, or do I love helping people like have a smooth transaction, have it I tend to have a calm nature
Yeah.
when it comes to the transaction. So I feel like I can navigate it really well, and I think after a few years of having a team and doing different things that I found my way with, I like being on the ground. I
Yeah.
like being in the field. I enjoy the transaction. I enjoy the negotiations. I enjoy seeing people achieve whatever it is they're trying to achieve
Yeah.
and helping calm the chaos.
Yeah, because there's always chaos in real estate, right? And I tell
Oh,
clients all the time, there's always going to be stress. If people tell you, "Oh, I'll help you," and you're not going to have any stress, well, I was like, well, they're just complete liars. I'm sorry to say,
yeah.
but that's just the truth because you are going to have some stress. But when you work with someone as great as you or our team and things like that, you have a great agent that you work with. They're going to help reduce the stress levels, not
Right.
get rid of it, but reduce it and
Right.
calm the water so you're not making rational decisions that you're going to regret in the future and things like that, right? And
Exactly.
so that's what it is. Awesome. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for joining me today. If people are looking to make a move to your area or within your area, how can they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
So my number is the best way, and 954-817-2604. You can find me on crazy social media everywhere. So any channel, pretty much, I'm on it. Most of my channels are either Move to Fort Lauderdale or Melissa, but they call me Mel.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, we'll see you
Thanks,
next
Matt.
Friday when I have another host here on How's Your Market. Have a great one.
Bye.